everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tara, or Dactyl, and today we're going to be working on our bandstand. I know it's been a little while since the last video. Life got a little crazy, so I apologize, but I am back at it with more inspiration coming your way. The bandstand is probably one of the earliest buildings that you can get without befriending a bunch of NPCs. I have only befriended John as of right now, and I don't know where I want to place his shop quite yet, so I figured the bandstand was going to be a nice and easy start. I wanted it to be close to Town Hall anyways, and found the perfect location. So I marked it on the map about where I want the bandstand to sit and live. And at first I start with a pathing pattern that I was hoping was gonna look nice, and then I didn't quite like the way that it looked all together, so I ended up just going with a normal rock edge path as like the main walkway to get to where the bandstand is going to be. This is going to turn into a larger build and will be broken up into two parts. So this first part is going to be the main bandstand area for the structure itself, as well as the decoration immediately around it. And then the next video will be decorating the surrounding area and helping it tie in to the natural landscape, as well as getting it to connect the best that it can to my main road and my town. So I start printing the platform for the bandstand itself. I had to look up what the measurements were, and I remembered that the steps for it are only 2 wide. So you'll see I start to pull up some of the pathing from there so that I can really visualize the center of the bandstand. And as I print it out, I actually end up increasing the size a couple of times, because once I started actually decorating and getting it to the way that I wanted it to look, it just wasn't quite big enough space from like where I had started to build it. So I adjusted it a few times, and I kind of clear things out as I need to. That's just kind of how I work the most. I don't want to disrupt the natural beauty that is Dinkum unless it doesn't fit my vision, so I'll only clear out the immediate space as I'm working, and then I try to incorporate that natural landscape and greenery into the empty spaces on the island, if you will. So I have the first platform, which will have decoration around it, and then I'll have the bandstand on a second platform, so that you have to go up 2 steps in order to get into the actual bandstand. I know it is a little dark, I apologize. I didn't get a mining helmet or anything to help build in the dark, but I like to make use of my days when I'm building. I don't spam days, and I build okay in the dark. So we'll sleep here soon once I finish printing the remainder of this platform. Alright, now that it's daytime and we've slept, we have our platform area set out for our bandstand, and underneath the bandstand I really like to use the concrete pathing. I think it looks really nice against the frame of the building. Now that there's new pathing in the game, I'm wondering if the red would look really cool in a different style of build. I did build this before the new Summer Sun update, which just released a couple of days ago to the public, and in its full form. I did play a little bit of the early access and beta testing for the update, and it was so much fun, and I can't wait to continue to build and design with all the amazing items that James gave us, and just even enjoy some of the new features. I did play on my vanilla island, if you will, to actually see what these features looked like and how to get the items the way that you're supposed to, or at least if you play the game without dev commands. So it was a lot of fun. James did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to creating some amazing things with these new items. But this was done before the update because I didn't want to just not play until the update came out. So we're using some of the more OG items. So like I was mentioning before, I had to remeasure everything. I placed down the bandstand so I could see the final layout, and I had expanded the platform a few times. For this area, I'm going to be using the fir grass quite a lot. It's my favorite grass. It's so lush and pretty, and where I live, we don't really get grass like that very often, at least. Our grass is probably closer to the tropical grass color, even though I don't live in a tropical area, but that's just what things look like as far as grass, and then all the bushes and things tend to be brown most of the time. So I really like to use the lush greenery that is in Dinkum, and so that's why I use the fir grass. Long story short. For this build, I do want a little bit of a river to kind of surround the bandstand area. I want a bridge that you have to cross the little bit of a river. So I skipped the really boring part of digging that river out, but as you can kind of see on the little mini map, it does make a nice little cute island, if you will, for the bandstand area, just to bring in a little bit of the natural aspect. In the next video, you'll see me create a really cool landscape. I'm really happy with the way that it ended up turning out. So that'll be in the next video, but for this first part, I just wanted to make sure I had the river set in place so that once I got to decorating the actual bandstand and the immediate area around that, the river was already there and I didn't have to tear it down later, since that's something that I knew I wanted to do. So now that we have the bridge in place, and since the entrance of the bandstand is too wide and the bridge needed to be too wide. It doesn't really center well with the sidewalk and how I had things laid out for the actual entrance of the area. So I had to come up with a new plan to create almost a roundabout, so it's not a straight shot from the sidewalk path to where the bandstand is. You gotta go one way or another, and I create this little island of trees to kind of go around, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I think it turned out really cute. The one thing I'm struggling with next, which I haven't even done yet, is how to connect the side on the right as you look at the bandstand here, how to connect that with the remainder, like from that space to where our town hall is. There is another build that I do right after I finish the bandstand, which will be in another video, but there's still space to try and make it all flow seamlessly. So that's still a struggle, but for now it's just going to be this little roundabout, and in the center is going to be a little planter area. So I'll be back in a little bit. Enjoy this next part of me trying to make this look as natural as possible. Alright, now that that area is mapped out and we're just waiting for some of the trees and things to grow, I'm back at the bandstand starting to decorate this immediate area. And I believe I was watching another creator's videos, DinkumGames. If you don't know who he is, he's a master decorator in Dinkum. So look up DinkumGames. He's one of my biggest inspirations for my builds, but I believe I was watching one of his bandstand videos and I really loved the way that it ended up turning out. So I stole a few ideas from him, definitely made it my own, but the marble railing of the staircase and the marble pedestals with the hibiscus bushes are one of the few things that I used as inspiration for this whole build. So I lay out the fir grass in the front area here so that I can start seeing what this is going to look like once it's all done. And I go back and forth a few times with the items and decorations. The hedging around the bandstand I believe came from Jersey's video, but I really like how it really encloses that area and makes it look really lush and green and pretty. So I fix the hedging to make sure that it's even on both sides, and it ties into the hibiscus really well. I wanted to use some more of these marble pedestals, and I do end up using some more of those throughout the build. I also really wanted to use the flower boxes. These ones in particular, the hardwood ones, help hide some of that dirt because the grass does not cover the whole block, which is fine. It's a stylistic thing in Dinkum, but I do like to hide the dirt sometimes if possible. So I place the hardwood boxes all the way around, and then these pedestals end up in the corners. And I do put hibiscus bushes on those as well, I believe. It's been a while since I've done this video, so I'm not totally sure. But I end up putting some more planter boxes and burying them down just a little bit this time. Once you put the flowers in, it helps cover up a little bit of that dirt again. And I went back and forth quite a few times with exactly how I was gonna do this, because as much as I liked it, there was still a lot of space between that bottom level and the upper level of the bandstand, and I didn't know how to fill it in with the items that we had at the time. So it turned out really nice what I ended up doing, but I don't want to give it all away, so I'll leave y'all in suspense. But for now, you know, we keep the flower boxes buried, and I changed the placement of the flowers a few times and the variety of the flowers. My favorite flowers are those, what are they? The royal bluebells, I believe is what they're called. Those are my favorite, along with the bird of paradise. The bird of paradise is actually my dad's favorite flower, so they always remind me of him. And when they got put into the game the first time, I wanted to use them as much as possible. So they do make it into this build. I did not like the hibiscus and the flower boxes. So they come back out. And I think the layout I end up going with is the bird of paradise next to the royal bluebells. The royal bluebells really help bring out that purple color that's just a hint in that bird of paradise. So they look really nice together. I wanted the glow buttons to bring a little bit of light, because that's what I was really struggling with the most, is getting enough light in the area. As you saw in the little roundabout planter, I worked in some of the hardwood lamps into there for some lighting, and as we get later in this build I start to add more lights, but the glow buttons really help with the lighting in this area overall. Another really great flower is this river daisy. I didn't use it in this build. I end up using the common heaths because I think they filled up the area a little bit better and it wasn't all the same color. So I didn't end up using the river daisies, but they are a beautiful flower and I love using them. So they will definitely be used in future builds. This part of the decoration, I was trying to do this mirror image and it didn't quite work because I didn't want two of the same flower in the center. As we finish up the build and the last thing that I do is the flowers along the backside, I ended up leaving that because I was really trying this whole like pattern thing and it turned out fine. I don't care for the double flower next to each other, so I avoided it for everywhere except for the back, which you're not really gonna look at all that much, which is why I kind of gave up and said, oh well. The festoon lights are one of the best items in the game, so of course when I was trying to add more light to the area, that was definitely something I wanted to add, and putting it behind the hibiscus bushes was a really nice touch. And then I added more of the hardwood lampposts next to the bridge bring in even more light, and it matches the lights I have around that little planter box area. And it matches the bridge. So I actually use those lampposts a lot in my builds, I just realized. Especially if it's a more natural build. So now I'm working in the jacaranda trees. Those are my favorite tree in the game. Purple is my favorite color, so when they turn purple in the spring, they're just so beautiful. And I want this area to be lush and pretty year round. So I added them to the front, and in the center here, what I end up doing is actually pretty neat. I had the idea to use arches and create a little seating area on the side of the bandstand, and I end up using the hedge arch because I liked the way that it contrasted the flower boxes rather than just blending in. And then we use a hardwood bench to put in front of it, giving the illusion that you're sitting under the hedge because we can't actually place items under the hedge arches or any of the arches really. Anything that acts kind of like a bridge or the arch. The new pergolas in the update, you can't place items under it, so anything to give the illusion is helpful. So I placed the ramps down so that you could get up to the bench, and then put the jacaranda trees on either side to provide some shade. And then I am constantly thinking about lighting. You don't want your builds to be too dark, so I mess around with the flower layout yet again to try and find the best pattern, if you will, of the flowers and to get that lighting worked in. Now the next part, trying to hide the ramps. I didn't really know how I wanted to do that. I just knew that I needed to hide them, and I didn't like the flower boxes being raised because I had buried them on the front side here. So you'll see what I end up doing. I cut the bulk of the work because I went back and forth so many times, but I laid down some gum wood pathing and then placed the gum wood flower boxes because the wood post look is probably one of my favorites, and that's the layout I ended up going with for the flower boxes all the way around. And to hide these ramps that I was so worried about, I just did some more hibiscus bushes. And it worked out really well, I think. So that's the overall layout I use around the entire build. As you can see, I have to print a whole other row around the back to continue that pattern, but I place these frilly statues as a decoration piece, and I think it really helped to break up some of the flowers as well, even though I wanted it to look really lush and full of plant life. I messed up there, forgot that the hedge arch goes between the flower boxes, and just want to make sure that this side looks the same as the other side. That whole symmetry thing, you know, it's very important, or at least it is to me. But I now have to figure out the next pattern for the flowers. So now that we have 3 levels, I didn't want the flowers to be the same above and below, so it had to be in a nice pattern to go all the way around so that there wasn't anything too repetitive. And I think it turned out really nice. You know, the balancing part was probably the hardest, and once it was all said and done, I think it looks really beautiful. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any other flower suggestions or just any tweaks to the build that you think would look really nice. I appreciate any feedback that I can get as I am trying to grow the channel and just trying to grow my development as a creator and a builder. We can't grow without constructive feedback. So anything that you leave down in the comments, if you like the build today, leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Like I said earlier, things got a little crazy, but my schedule, although crazy, will still be a little bit more consistent going forward, because I should be working a lot less here pretty soon. So that's the plan, and we'll continue to build here. So next we're going to work on some lighting, because it's still a bit dark, and although the festoon lights don't provide a ton of lighting, it's still really important to include the lighting in the build, because any additional light is helpful. So I love the way the festoon lights, like I said before, and because it wasn't quite enough, I wanted to use these garden lights throughout the build to kind of line. I think I end up using them to line some, like a pathway to just go around, and I liked the way that they looked on top of the rock path, but it really brightened it up once I placed these down. So as we continue through the build, I add them throughout, and I stop a lot just to admire and just to make sure that this is the look that I want to create. So let me know what you think. I think it turned out really nice, and I'm not sure what I would change, honestly. But if you have a suggestion, like I said before, leave it down in the comments, and I'd be happy to try out your idea, because not all my ideas are great, and there's a lot of trial and error that goes on with these builds every single time. So I love all the ideas. Please give me ideas so that I can continue to expand my building vocabulary. So now this side, we'll make sure that it looks exactly like the other side, making sure that the flower boxes are where they belong, and we'll plant the bushes and plant the trees and place the bench, and that's pretty much it. And then what we'll do for a little bit before I end the video is start clearing out some of this raised dirt over on the left. Gotta clean out my pockets first though, because I'm out of space. Always out of pocket space. So gotta clear the pockets. But we'll get the ramps placed down and that bench like I was saying, and then we'll go over and start clearing out that raised dirt on the left so that we can make a nice walkway over onto this side, but that's going to be in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this first part of the bandstand build. I'm going to end it here and hope to see you next time. We're going to be finishing up the decorating of the outside area of this bandstand and make it look really, really nice. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.